Hey, my name's Izzy. This is Rolling Virtual Cards, coming at you with another Commander deck build. This time we got Aragorn and Arwen wed. This is 4, a green and a white, for a 3/6 legendary creature, human, elf, noble. With vigilance. When Aragorn and Arwen wed enters the battlefield or attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control. You gain 1 life for each other creature you control. So Aragorn and Arwen wed has a lot of stuff going for it that's nice. Number 1, it has accidental life gain. Accidental life gain in a commander is great. This is going to just allow you to keep yourself alive in a nice casual setting, maybe an intermediate setting where people are hitting you. You're just, every time Aragorn or Arwen's going to attack, you're going to gain a life for every creature. So you've got 10 creatures out in the, 5 creatures. That's 5 plus each other creature you control, mind you. So that's 5 life all of a sudden. So every single turn you're gaining 5, 10 life randomly because of all the creatures on the field you have. That's going to help you. You're also going to be putting 1/1 counters on each other creature you control when it enters the battlefield or attacks, which is also great. For 2 reasons. 1, you're going to slowly buff your creatures. With the proper stuff out on the field, it could be more than slowly. And buffing your creatures is going to allow them to attack. If they have lifelink themselves, they're going to gain more life. If you want to focus on the life aspect of this, you can also focus on the 1/1 counters, or you can kind of mix and match. My version of the deck focuses more on the 1/1 counters and uses the life gain as accidental life gain to trigger some stuff. And it triggers on ETB and on attack. So you could run Flicker, but because Aragorn and Arwen is a Vigilance 3/6, I want to swing with it. It's going to be able to attack a lot of people. Still have that nice booty to keep it safe. But you have a lot of advantage here when it comes to hitting people and getting them out of the game. 3 is not a lot, so you're not going to be killing people with commander damage, but you can probably kill off a few creatures. So the next thing about this commander that's great altogether is it has vigilance, which normally isn't the best, but on a 3/6 you're going to be able to block a few things, and being able to just have that 3/6 out on the field, kitty cat guys, is going to be useful. That's going to help you take out some or protect yourself from people attacking you. They're going to go, oh, I want to swing at you with my small guy to get some effect off. Oh, I can't. Your commander's empty. The downside to this commander is it's a 6-drop. But you're in green, so that's not a big problem, to be fair. So overall, I really do like this commander and what it means, or what it can do. It doesn't have card advantage. It doesn't. It's expensive. It doesn't have interaction, and it doesn't ramp you. But you can build around that and just have this commander that helps push you and trigger other things that can do all that. So that being said, let's get into the cards. First off, we'll go over the cards that are in here because they're 1/1 counters. We've got 13 cards in here that specifically deal with 1/1 counters and nothing else. Hardened Scales doubles 1/1 counters or adds an additional. So your commander will be putting 2 1/1 counters on each creatures, which is significantly more. Mikaeus, the Lunarch, this one comes with X 1/1 counters. You can tap it to put a 1/1 counter on it, or you can tap it, remove a 1/1 counter, and put a 1/1 counter on each other creature. This is going to make Aragorn and Arwen bigger, which means it can block more, and it can deal more damage. It's going to make all your other creatures bigger. Plus, Aragorn and Arwen will keep putting the counters on Mikaeus, so Mikaeus will continually be able to use its effects to get your creatures bigger, and that works with Hardened Scales as well. Conclave Mentor is another Hardened Scales. If 1 more 1/1 counters be put on a creature, an additional one is through that. And when it dies, you gain life equals to its power. Since Aragorn and Arwen are buffing this, that is a good accident life gain because they're going to want to kill Conclave. So as long as it's out in the field and you can get it a buff to, even just with 1, you're going to gain 5 life off of someone killing it, to the point that maybe they don't want to kill it because they know they're going to give you too much life. Breaching Evolutions or Branching Evolutions is going to be 1 or more 1/1 counters to be put on a creature you control, twice that many. So this is just another doubling, which again, 2 doubling, it's Now, this one is twice that many 1/1 counters, which is doubling. So something with like hardened scales, you can double both because both are a single counter being put on. So that would be 4. If you have conclave and hardened scales, you're putting 3, so that's going to be 6 counters with Branching Evolutions. It's really strong in that regard. Champion of Limhalt is here as a 1/1 counter. It is also a finisher. Now, what I mean by finisher is it can come down to just win you the game. Creatures with power less than its power can't block creatures you control. When another creature enters the battlefield and you control, put a 1/1 counter on it. So you can get Champion out, and then you can just drop, or with Aragorn on the field, it'll become 2. Now creatures with power 2 or less can't block you. Creatures with power less than, so creatures with 1 power can't block your creatures. And then with like a hardened scales, that makes it 3, so creatures with 2 can't. If you got like Branching Evolutions, all of a sudden you're putting 4 on it. Now creatures with 4 or less power can't block it. If you cast it and then cast like a few creatures off that, it's really good to just allow you to get in and win. Evolution Sage, landfall is great in this deck. And proliferating is going to be great because you're just going to get all those 1/1 counters building up, swing out wide and tall. Hardened scales doubles, like the doubling 1/1 counters doubles the proliferation. Very strong. Felidar Retreat, a 1/1 counter on each creature you control when it enters the battlefield. It's great. It's basically proliferation in that regard. But those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn, which means you can block with them, which is super good. If you don't need that, if you're trying to... The other thing about Fellow Retreat is you can rebuild. If an opponent, like, board wipes, you can just start creating cat beasts instead. Archangel of Thune. When you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So when you attack with your commander, not only are you going to put a 1/1 counter on each creature, you're going to gain life off of your commander, and then you're going to put a 1/1 counter on each creature. Which is great. Especially since with something like Hardened Scales, you're going to be able to... Excuse that. Sorry, I'm a little thirsty. I got a tickle. With something like that, Archangel Thune will... That's like 2 triggers off the 1/1 counters, which, like, with Hardened Scales, you're going to be able to constantly double those 1/1 counters. Next here, we've got Colonial Hydra. This is going to enter with 4 1/1 counters, and then when it attacks, double the number 1 counters on each creature you control. So since all your creatures have 1/1 counters, you're going to double them. So doubling them with something Hardened Scales, you're going to, like, if with Colonial Hydra, we'll get 4 and then an additional 1, which is 5. But with something Branching Evolutions, it would get 8. So very strong, a great finisher, just like Champion of Limhalt. Loyal Guardian is fantastic here because it is going to be putting a 1/1 counter on each creature you control at the beginning of combat, as long as you have your commander, because that's what Lieutenant does. And so putting a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, again, this is just getting them wider, hitting harder. Primal Vigor, this is doubling the number of tokens you create and doubling the number of 1/1 counters. It's twice, but this is for everyone. So you do run into that problem of it might be a dead card if you're playing against an opponent. Well, if one of the decks your opponent's running is a 1/1 counter deck or a token deck, you might want to drop it. But if you can play it and win off of it, like playing this twice as many counters and you can swing with Aragorn and you've got like Hardened Scales and Branching Evolutions, play this to win the game. Yeah, that's fine. Nykthos Paragon. This is another 6-drop. It's expensive, but when you gain life, you put that many 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Do this only once each turn, but that many is what's great. This card's another big push. You drop it, you swing, you got 6 creatures out, 6 life gain, put 6 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Have something like Primal Vigor or Branching Evolution, and all of a sudden you're doubling that 6 1/1 counters, and you're like putting 12 counters on each creature, and you're just going to clear their field or kill them. Sigarda's Summons is great. Creatures you control with a 1/1 counter on them have base power and toughness of 4/4, have flying, and are angels in addition to their other types. So it does hinder something like this becomes a 4/4 instead of a 3/6, but it gains flying, and vigilance and flying is worth it in that regard. Plus with all the 1/1 counters, it's going to get bigger. And Sigarda's Summons is just another big drop because you can just drop it, Buff all your small creatures from 1/1s to 4/4s, and they all have flying, so you can get in and win. So 6 drop to win the game. Now we got a draw. We got 10 draw cards here. Donna Hope plays off the life gain. When you gain life, you can pay 2 if you do draw a card, and you can pay 4 to make a soldier token with lifelink, which triggers off the life gain, triggers off its effect. Having some type of mana sink index is great because you tend to have a lot of mana, and if you can't draw, at least a mana sink lets you do something. Oh, I don't have anything to do. This is instant speed. I can hold my mana open, pay 8 on my opponent's end turn, and get 2 1/1s. Inspiring Call allows you to draw a card for each creature you control with 1/1 counter. Those creatures get indestructible on their turn. So this is not only just a draw spell, it is a protection spell. It's interaction. Someone goes for a board wipe, you Inspiring Call. Not only do you all of a sudden draw 6 cards, your opponent just killed off all your opponent's creatures, and your guys are still here, and you win the game the next turn. Because you're probably going to draw into something like Sigarda's Summons or Nykthos Paragon, and you're going to win. Lauren of the Third Path is, again, my pet card. I love this card. For 3, you get a 2/1 with Vigilance. And since it's going to get 1/1 counters, you can punch with it. It enters the battlefield, it removes, and then you can tap it to you and target opponent each draw a card. Just choose the player who is the furthest behind and go ahead and draw some cards. You're being friendly with them. You can use this as a way to work with people, to nicely, or to, what's the word? I spaced on the word, but work with an opponent. Politics. You can politic people with it. Oh, you want to draw a card? Cool. You can draw the cards on your opponent's end step so that they can't use the card as well, which is great. And you can still attack with it, and it still removes something. There's nothing to dislike about this card. There's a reason it's like almost $10. Tireless Tracker here is draw. You have plenty of lands that you can fetch, or ways to fetch lands onto the field. And this is just a fine way to draw. Plus, it gets 1/1 counters. Not the best way to get 1/1 counters, kind of slow, but it is just accidental 1/1 counters, which is fine. Good way to just draw cards. Armorcraft Judge is Inspiring Call without the protection. Into the battlefield, you draw a card for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. But it's also a 3/3 that can get bigger and stuff. Beast Whisperer here is draw a card. You draw a card each. When you cast a creature spell, draw a card, which is casting a lot of creature spells this game. Trust me. Guardian Project's the same thing. With the exception of like Pack Rat and like 7 Dwarves and stuff like that. When a non-token creature is the battlefield under control, if you don't have the same name as another creature card in your graveyard, draw a card. So for the most part, this is just draw a card when a creature enters the battlefield. Toski, Bearer of Secrets, since you are attacking, you're going to be drawing cards. This draws you a card every time you hit someone. Plus, it can't be counted, and it's indestructible, and it has to attack each combat. So you're going to keep it no matter what, even if there's board wipes. And since you're running 1/1 counters, it's going to get bigger and bigger, making it scarier. Well of Lost Dreams is fantastic here. When you gain life, you can pay extra. X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gain. You draw that many cards. So, like, you draw X cards. So, like, you're going to gain 5 lives off your commander attacking, pay 5 mana, draw 5 cards. Very useful. Shamanic Revelation, draw a card for each creature you control. For each creature with power 4 or more, you're going to gain 4 life, which is great because you're going to be buffing them all. So playing this, you could gain like 20 life all of a sudden. This is with that ETB and finisher. So Champion Lemma is both a it has an ETB and it has a finisher. I'm still working on organizing everything. Oh, I spelled finisher wrong. Give me a second. I'm just gonna fix this for a second. Is that finishers? Yeah. Okay, that's the problem. Change tags. Get rid of this one that says finisher. And save. We'll just yeah. So these are all. This is another finisher. It is a 1/1 counter. A creature too, but each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on has flying. That just lets you get in a win. Interaction. Hangerback Walker. This is I accidentally win an interaction. Yeah, my bad. This is just a 1/1 counter. Well, actually, to be fair, this is kind of an interaction piece, and the reason why is because it is a detriment to people boarding the field. It's almost protection in that regard. It's going to come on the field with extra 1/1 counters. The thing is its effect doesn't care about the first 1/1 counters. It's all 1/1 counters. So as long as you keep putting 1/1 counters on it, which you will, someone blows the field up and you've got a Hangerback Walker that's like got 10 counters on it, you're going to get 10 1/1 Thopters. Then you're going to commander comes back on the field. You have your enchantment that's doubling the 1/1s or adding additional. All of a sudden it puts a 1/1 counter on each other creature. Your 1/1 flyers are now 3/3 flyers. It's a problem. And you can just tap it to put 1/1 counter on it each turn, making people go, I don't want to board wipe. If I board wipe, I'm giving him the game. Mother Ruins is interaction because it protects your creatures. Interaction involves protection. So there's like two parts to interaction. You interacting with them and you protecting yourself from their interaction. Mother Ruin does that very nicely. Nature's Claim is just removal for artifact or enchantment. Path to Exile and Swords kills off a creature. Return to Nature hits artifact or enchantment or a card in opponent's graveyard, which is very useful if they're going to go to target something. Beast Within and Generous Gift hit any permanents, but you do give them a 3/3, not the end of the world and casual stand in the casual game. Crows and Grip, split second, and you can pop an artifact or enchantment. Very useful, especially since one of the most popular cards casually is Aetherflux Reservoir, and this stops that card. Reclamation Sage is very useful as just a removal piece, but since it's a creature removal piece, which are better in this deck, it's going to get bigger. A 2/1's nothing, but a 2/1 with 5 counters on it is all of a sudden a 7/6. Skyclave Apparition, again, this is the same thing. This is removal. It hits the field, you exile target non-land permanent you don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. If it leaves the battlefield, they get an XX or X the converted mana cost of the exile card. So they get like a 3/3, which is fine. The good thing is this 2/2 can become a 6/6. Shalai, Voice of Plenty, does put 1/1 counters, is a mana dump, but it's protection. Giving other creatures you control and you and planeswalkers you control hexproof is great. They're going to have to waste their kill on Shalai and then kill something else, which is annoying. You got 2 board wipes. Austere Command and Farewell. They are like the board wipes for white nowadays. They're both 6, so they're not as like good as Wrath of God, but this hits, this destroys artifacts or enchantments, creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, or creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. You choose. So, like, you can just pop all the artifacts if you don't want them. And, oh no, look, my Hangerback Walker died, and I get, like, a bunch of flyers all of a sudden. Or you can pop all the creatures that are big, because you don't have a lot of big creatures. Oh no, my commander died. I'll just recast it and buff all my stuff and go for game. Very useful. And Farewell does the same thing, but you can choose one or more, and that's artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and graveyards. So, yeah, and it's an exile, so you do just remove them. So you can totally nuke everything, or you can go a little slower, or more selective. Both great board wipes, and they're very good if you're behind. Austere Command does work with Indestructible, so something like the instant up here for draw, inspire, and call would be great, because you can give your you can draw, make everything indestructible, and then board wipe with Austere Command. Ramp, 23 ramp. Why are we running 23 ramp? Because we have a lot of we have a commander we want to get out, and I want a cheap ramp. You can replace the artifacts with creatures. To be fair, if you want more creatures because you want to buff them. But, you know, Avacyn's Pilgrim taps for white, birds is anything, green, 2 of any color, or 2 colorless. This one taps for green after you put it on a land, or onto on a land. Any color, this grabs you in this deck, this grabs you a plane. Any color, forests, any basic, this grabs you a basic each turn since you're attacking, that's great. 3 visits is going to grab you forests. Command Sphere grabs you, taps for any color, and you can sack it to draw a card if needed. Cultivate grabs you land onto the field and land in your hand. Harrow is 2 lands on the field untapped. Kodama's Reach is just cultivate. Rishkar's Pima Renegade. Pima Renegade is great because you're going to put 2 1/1 counters and up to 2 target, or a 1/1 counter up to 2 target creatures, and creatures you control with counters on them can tap for a green. This turns all your creatures into ramp. Tireless Provisioner gives you food or treasure Normally you do treasure, but the food can be pretty good with some of the cards in here, or if you just need action and life gain. Wood Elves grabs you a forest. Sky's Round Claim grabs you 2 forests, untapped. Yeah, this is also untapped. And Defiler of Vigor, green permanents. When you cast a green permanent spell, put a 1 counter on each creature you control, which is very good. But it also makes green permanent spells, you can pay 2 for at least one of their green. So any green on a green permanent spell, or at least one of them, is a Phyrexian. So like Tireless Tracker here, you can pay 2 and 2 life. But something like, let me see if I can find it. Something like Champion Lampart would be 1 generic, 1 green, and 2 life. And then put a 1/1 counter on each creature, which is a 1/1 counter thing, but it's also ramp and a technicality. Recursion, I'm only running 2 Recursion, Eternal Witness, and Sun Titan. Eternal Witness is fine. You can use it to grab like that 1 win con that they stopped to try to get that key finisher. Sun Titan, on the other hand, is fantastic. Do not play it unless like they board wipe. Then Sun Titan can help get you back in the game. That's the point. You want to get back in the game, and having a card like Sun Titan lets you do that. And then you have your lands. Again, lands don't super matter. It's not really something I'm worrying about. And then, yeah, did I spell interaction wrong? Interaction. Oh, one's capitalized, one's not. Okay, gotcha. I'm just gonna leave that there. He's already up in the other one. I'm just getting used to the tag still. But yeah, this is a very fun deck. I highly suggest building it. Again, like, you're getting a good way to win out of Aragorn and Arwen. Just being able to swing far or swing wide and tall is useful, and that accident life gain is going to come and help you in. You can heavily focus on life gain if you want, and I mean cards that trigger off gaining life. You do not need cards that gain you life. But I think focusing on the 1/1 counters will help you win a little faster. I know there's a few other cards nowadays that help you double the 1/1 counters. So, if you find some of those, you can go ahead and put them in here. I don't have them in the deck at this point in time. Just because this is it's one of the first ones I built. I built this deck a while ago, I believe. But like I said, all my decks are starting places. So if you find cards and you question why they're there, remove it and add a different card. Anyways, everyone have a great day. Peace.